Hello, everybody. It's Christi Karate here, and this is Christi's Clarity. And hello, everybody. It's Christi Karate here, and this is. I need to mute my Zoom. That's what I need to do. Yes. No, I needed to mute um, Facebook so that I could talk to you here. Okay, so we're getting started today with Christi's Clarity. I'm a little bit late because of technical difficulties, but I'm always glad to be here to help you get some clarity for yourself, for your life, for your business, for relationships, for health. And today I'm talking about they did it to me because it's the month of relationships. And I will tell you, in so many relationships, people blame or want to know who's to blame and who's the victim. How does that work in relationships? Not really that great, right? And so I'm going to teach you something really core about that in um, in how to navigate that, especially in relationships, but this goes across the board everywhere. So the whole concept of blame and victim and so forth, it really is instilled in most all of us from our childhood, because we had well-meaning people that were teaching us how to live and navigate life and actually even take responsibility for our own actions. And so it was like, did you do that? Did you do that? And uh, as we grew up, we found that it was a great tool for power over other people, when really what I teach is how to be power with. So, and then as we grew up and got older and, went into relationships, that's how we had learned to be in relationship, that it did have to be somebody's responsibility or they did it to me. And I will guarantee you that once you learn this method and technique, that the whole concept of they did it to me will transform for you. Because when you blame someone else, you are the victim. And you, when you're the victim, cannot make change. There's no way to make a change because you're the victim, right? Victims are helpless, right? So then how do you get out of that loop of, well, but they did it to me? I mean, I have so many people say, what do you mean? I mean, they did do it to me. But we're going to back up a little further and take a look at basically the energy of our life. Like all of the accumulation of the belief systems, the training, the media, all of those things that got into you, and that makes up your energetic being, your energetic life, right? And that energetic life will project out into the world the out picturing exactly of what's inside, right? And some people, as they were growing up, they could actually decipher some things, this from that, mom's taking care of me versus how I can navigate or act in the world, belief in myself. It also depends on how our parents and teachers and so forth presented it to us. Did they empower us? Did they shame us? And all of those things are now in our, I'm going to call it our energetic life, right? And so when we want to, we engage in a new relationship, those things are going to come out of us. And that's how we're going to respond. That's the habit. That's the thing that we learned. It's often all we know. So, so I have so many people come to me and they say, but they did do it to me. And that's why I want to go back to the energetic energy. So what happens is, if you begin to change your energy and you clear out those old belief systems and the old things that you actually perceived that things, and it's even a perception, like when your parents were saying, did you do that to me? You perceived that that was a method of how to interact in the world. and you perceived that that meant that other people were victims. And then our insurance system, right? Whose fault, who's at fault, that kind of thing. Oh, it's so frustrating, right? Because let's just take care of the problem and let's move on. But that is in our society as well. See how much that happens. Okay, so I want you to step back and I want you to take the longer view. Now, so here's an example of from my own experience of when I had was in the victim mode and modality. Okay, so I had a friend recommend. I was living in Seattle as a single woman, living on my own, having to navigate the world all by myself, and I needed a job. And so a friend of mine had a friend that was the bartender or something at a sports bar down by the Coliseum in Seattle. And so he said, why don't you, I set up an interview for you. So I get all gussied up and, I want to be my best. And I show up there and I think, this is really a shoe-in and I'm really friendly with him and things are really great. And I never got a call back. And then my friend told me, I said to him, I never got a call back. And he talked to his buddy and he said, she was wearing purple lipstick. I can't hire somebody with purple lipstick. Oh my gosh. I was so livid. I was like, they need to have a rule in hiring against race, age, and the color of your lipstick, right? Not to hire me because of my lipstick, right? And so I wanted to blame them. They were wrong. Think about it. What good does that do? How can you take action on that when they're to blame? I'm going to show you a chart here from Michael Beckwith that is in my book, Beyond the Box, the book. It's chapter 7. This is the whole chapter's about how do you move from being a victim into being empowered. And I'm going to show you that chart and I'm going to share it with you and explain it to you and run you through this system of how do you move from being a victim to being empowered in the situation. Okay, so right here on this chart, it's the thought. So first of all, once we get all those beliefs of how, that there is a victim, there is somebody at fault, we need to blame them, we need to straighten it out with them. Okay, then that actually starts generating this right down here that says, why does this always happen to me? Right? And people get that in that. Why does that always happen to me? That came from a belief. It doesn't always happen to you unless you draw the energy in. And that all depends on your energetic life, what you hold in you, of what you attract. And so the more you say, why does that always happen to me? Then it's going to continue to happen to you. I should move my picture over here so I can look up at you guys, right? And so what you have to do, first of all, is accept your own responsibility in it. And part of it is because you have this energetic body. Oftentimes when you're out in the world and something repeatedly happens to you, you get somebody cuts in front of you at everything you go to. That isn't them. That is your energetic field. You take a job and you get several, you keep leaving jobs, and that's not them. That's you. Now, oftentimes it's because you're looking in the wrong place, but you're still blaming the other person, the other thing, the other situation. And so as long as you do that, you cannot be empowered. You cannot, once you blame somebody, you're the victim, and there's no actions you can take other than to continue to blame them, ask them to forgive you. But look at what it is right down here. It's you get to forgive, you get to forgive them. You get to forgive yourself. In my book, there's a wonderful song in there by Karen Drucker, who also, just along with this chart, gave me permission to use this song, the lyrics in my book. And so this is a real great way how to move through being a victim in any circumstance. First, you have to love yourself. And so her song is, may I be filled with loving kindness. And then it goes on. And then the next one is, may you be filled with loving kindness. And that's the other person that you're calling the victim. May we be loving kindness. And you kind of put yourself in the same circle with them. Equal, not power over. We're all out here doing our very best. And then may we be filled with kindness, and always coming back to, I am filled with loving kindness. So when you let go of being a victim, you begin to understand that there are universal laws in the universe. If you're aware, if this is what happens, and some of you become aware of that, and then you can use it instead of them using you. And you go into affirmations, visualizations, vision boards, best case scenarios. I also I would put in here namaste, which is the divine in me recognizes the divine in you. And so then you begin, so over here you were out of control. Here you begin to experience the power of manifestation. You begin to change your inside energy. Your frequency raises in regard to blame, and you let go of blame and you replace it with empowerment. I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to ask myself. You want to ask yourself some really powerful questions when something keeps happening to you over and over. What is my part in it? What do I need to heal within myself? And once you heal that within yourself, and you take responsibility, you're sitting over the breakfast table, and you say to your husband, I ran out of gas yesterday. How come you didn't fill up my tank? Now, that is actually a habit in our family, that my husband does fill up my gas tank when it's needed. It's just so lovely. But on the other hand, how does he know when it's getting low? How does he know when I need the gas filled up? Or if it's low and he's not available, I need to fill it up. So he has really no responsibility in that, other than, a lovely little family gesture, habit of love that we have in our family from my husband to me. But it's not his fault. Once we can begin raising our frequency, looking at the 12 laws, universal laws that I talk about in my book, Beyond the Box, and also chapter 7 is the one with the chart in it, but we've put a link to the chart in the chat. It's not the chat on Facebook, in the thread, whatever it's called, so that you can download this chart and have this chart. Because then what happens when you begin taking responsibility, I can control my thoughts and my life. And you control your life by controlling your thoughts. And then you also begin to give up. In order to move to the next stage 3, you begin to give up control and power. See, once you learn to use the universal principles, it's just like, learning to take a breath. It happens naturally. Learning to walk using the power of gravity. You don't think, oh, right now, I've got the exact pull of gravity on the earth so that I can walk upon. No, you just know that you can do that. So when you really get these universal laws, these universal principles inside of you, then you can really move into, they work as me and through me. And the next 2 stages of spiritual consciousness are really lovely places to live and navigate the world. So I was going to say something and I lost my thought, but I think it's probably good enough time. I hope you love this tip. Look at yourself first. Remember when they said blame, the finger pointing out there, but there's 3 fingers and maybe a thumb pointing back at you. So first look at, what is my consciousness? What can I shift or change to be a magnet? Because once you get this in you, you become a magnet to attract all that good that you desire, all that love. So we're putting the link to my book if you'd like to purchase my book, beyondtheboxbook.com. It's $16. It's an easy purchase. It's got, I know what I was going to say is, so I made the book the chapters and the references to art for those of you who love the creative sense. So I use the principles of art to explain the principles of life. So it's not just your ordinary dry, okay, we got to read the principles, we got to memorize them. No, you will enjoy the relationship that I have associated it to the principles and elements of art. So thank you for being on Christie's Clarity today, and I look forward to seeing you next Friday at 10:10 for Christie's Clarity. I guess I should have stopped share on all of that, right?